Hello, welcome to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to another Sunday night live show with myself, Jacob Culshaw, the fabulous, the amazing Sam Ucko, and we'd love to welcome on Mr. Harry Welch. What a man. Harry, thank you so much for coming on, mate. You're, I think it's your debut, right, on the
It
channel?
is my debut indeed. Yeah, it
How
is.
are you feeling? Is it? We've never been in that position, have we, Sam? What was your debut like, Sam? Actually, was it? What's the feeling like?
Mine must have been back in the day of fan cams, I think. And I think
Wow.
I was more happy to be there, to be honest with you. And luckily the performance followed. And here I am, 4 years later now, 4 or 5 years later, it must be.
Wow, unbelievable. Can't get rid of you.
Ridiculous. Yeah, no, Harry, it's great to have you on, though. We've been to a few games together this season. So I could think of no one better to review the Leicester game.
Harry also owns one of the best flat caps in the game.
I'm nice with flat caps. I've got a good collection. Going. Maybe on the next time you have me on in the Mad Squirrel, maybe I'll have it on.
Good man. Did anyone see Ten Hag having the flat cap on today?
Look class.
So the question is, if you were a manager, would you wear a flat cap on the sideline, Harry? That's the
100%, mate. 100%. A bit like was it Ian Holloway? Used to rip on pretty well. Not that I don't want to be like Ian Holloway, but I do. I would definitely be a suit manager. I think more than a tracksuit manager. 100%.
Sam screams. I think you scream tracksuit, mate.
Really? Oh, I'm sort of smart. I'm smart casual. I think, to be fair. I think
I'd go. You talk like a quarter zip.
Yeah, I think I'd go quarter zip, to be honest with you. Nice pair of smart trousers and smart shoes as well. I think suit is too formal unless it's a cup final, but I don't see myself as tracksuit either.
So you're more Jukanovic than Billy McKinley?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
Thanks to everybody who's tuning in this evening. Really do appreciate it. We'd love to get your thoughts, as many as possible, in the live chat on yesterday's game. And the title does say, "Did Watford play well?" And it's kind of split opinion on our social. So just let us know what you thought of the game yesterday and what you think of this Watford team at the moment. We're going to dissect it. We're going to get player ratings going and your thoughts as well. So finished Leicester 2, Watford 0, 2 Jamie Vardy goals. And one thing to say is death taxes and Vardy scoring against Watford. It was almost inevitable, really, when he punched himself in the face that he was going to go and score a couple. But there was a lot to dissect. So, Sam, you did a match reaction yesterday and you felt that Watford could have been more positive. Just your overall thoughts on yesterday, if you could expand on that.
Yeah, I think particularly in hindsight now, a day later, I was quite happy with the way that we set up. I think it was quite clear that what we were going for was try and keep it tight for as long as possible and then hope to nick one in the second half. Ultimately, the problem was we got to 60, 70 minutes and we looked quite strong at the back, but we just didn't let the handbrake off at all and take a risk. I think Leicester were the clear favourites going into this game, to the point where, all right, if we lose, we lose, but we've lost to a better team and we could have taken a few more risks. It was a really good opportunity, I think, to catch Leicester out. I didn't think they were at their best yesterday. I think Leicester fans would admit that as well. I just think the subs from Val came a bit late in terms of, I think Martins and Asprey came on with 10, 15 minutes to go. I think that should have been with half an hour to go, to be honest with you. And I just think we could have been a bit more expansive, a bit braver, take a few more risks. So I think there were some positive parts to the performance, particularly in that first hour. But I think at the end of the day, it's an opportunity to reflect and learn. I think Watford could have been braver.
I guess the question is, Harry, did Watford play well? How did you see the way Watford played?
So obviously my debut on here. A lot of people don't know, with Watford, I've got very low expectations, I think, just based on how the past couple of seasons have gone. So I'm kind of used to dealing with defeat now. But don't mean I want to see us lose. I still want us to have it, give it a good go. I think yesterday was a balance of we played well in some parts. In terms of, like Sam said, we defended well, I think, for 60 minutes. But then again, I think we're quite lucky. I think if Leicester were a bit more sharper, they would have been maybe 2 goals ahead at half time. Like I said, we're going to the team top of the league, most likely going to finish there as well. So I think there's no sort of shame in the defeat. But I think in terms of the performance, it was, I don't know. I'm kind of still split on it, really, whether it was good or not. But I think Sam's right as well, in the sense that substitutions did come quite late, because I think players like Ince, didn't play particularly well. I think that change should have happened a lot earlier. I don't think he was creating enough. But I think same with Rajovic as well. I'm kind of split on Rajovic. I think, listen, he's done very well in terms of his goal scoring, but I think he has a lot more work to do in terms of holding the ball up and winning headers and things like that. And I'm sure that will come. I know he's got that in his locker. But I think it was, I don't know. It's a tough one for me. I still am not quite sure if we play well or not. I can't really say.
Yeah, go on, mate.
We look at. Sorry, I think if we look at it throughout the game, I don't think we probably did. I don't think we just did enough to win the game. I think that was it. Like I say, the subs came too late. But I think I just want to call out Wesley, who I thought probably kept the score 0-0 for quite a while. Same with Jamal Lewis and Andrews. I think if we're going to say positive out of the game, it's probably their performances. I think it was probably more individual performances were good rather than a team performance, I think.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point because, I mean, just on who, I remember there was particularly that one incident in the first half rather, where he made that kind of like low sliding block, if I remember correctly. And if he hadn't got there, it probably would have led to a goal, to be fair. But if I flip it the other way around, Sam, and I'm a half glass full man, I'm siding more towards you guys in the sense that I'm struggling to see what the question, did Watford play well? I could understood the game plan, but I think it would probably be a stretch to say we played well. I think we tried to keep it competitive, but in the end, it was quite comfortable for Leicester. You flip it on the other side, Sam, and you say Rajovic scuffed his chance in the first half. Porteous had a decent chance at the end. I think that was at 0-0, or I think it was at 0-0.
Leicester were 1-0 up at the time, I think.
1-0 up. But you flip it like that, Sam, and you think we did have chances. I know they were limited, but we did get in some good positions.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen the Rajovic chance yet. Someone mentioned it might have been slightly behind him. I couldn't really see from the away end because it was on the other side. But yeah, I think that is the element that you have to look at. That on another day, Watford snatched that 1-0 or 1-0 with Porteous equalising, and I think we'd all be happy with that and say that the game plan we nailed it. I think Val probably had a bit of a dilemma there because we saw how open we were away at Leeds. I think that's the direct comparison in this game. We got absolutely torn to shreds. And I think he probably learned from that, looked at it, and when we're going to have to be tighter throughout this whole game, or a similar thing will happen. But I just think, like I say, I think Leicester were there to be got at. They had no Harry Winks in there. Yesterday has been a really good player for them this season. More players come back from international duty. They think they've lost their last 2 or 3 games before yesterday's game. I just think they were there to be got at, to be honest with you. And I think in hindsight, it was a missed opportunity.
Do you know what? I'm just going to share my screen here because I've got a few stats to run through. Normally, Charlie's the man. If we can see that, there we go. So this is from FootMob. So they basically do a breakdown of all the stats at the end of yesterday. Hopefully, you can see that. Can you see that, guys? All right. Just the numbers. So Leicester 65% possession to Watford's 35%, which I think sums up the game pretty well. Watford struggled to really get a foothold of the game, and they allowed Leicester to play it around, which Maresca has been known to do in his build-up through the thirds. You then look at the XG, Harry, 2.94 to Leicester, 0.75 to Watford. So my question to you, mate, is just, did you expect us to create any more than we did?
First of all, I can't believe Leicester had 23 shots. I can't believe that. But yeah, I think most, to be honest, I think the majority of chances from us did come later on. I think when we did make them subs, we brought on Asprilla, Georgie, who I thought Georgie plays direct passes, which I like. But yeah, I think it was
brilliant, Georgie. By the way, sorry to jump in.
I think if we look at the expected goals here, I think away at Leicester, I think even any game really, I think it should be higher there, 100%. I think we do like to play it around the box a lot, and I'm not sure if anyone saw the mic'd up video about. We can see in the training sessions, I think they are trying to work on that in terms of getting shots away on goal more often, because I know we do have that tendency to play around the box and not necessarily get shot away. So I think in this game, it's like we sort of had, when we have got shots away, none of them have really been on target. I think that one was that the Porteous shot that was on target, right?
Yeah, it must have been that one. And I guess that's the big chance that they're mentioning as well. I guess they didn't mention Rajovic's opportunity because he probably didn't get a contact on the ball. But as you say, mate, like that was probably the one chance that I can really remember. Sam, just on Val, he's getting a little bit of scrutiny for his substitutions yesterday. I think you guys mentioned it as well, maybe a little bit slow to bring on Martins, Asprilla, two of our most creative players. Charlie in our group chat is not here today. He did say you've got to get Martins on quicker. I think it was the timing of the subs for me, Sam, that I was struggling with. It must have been about 78, 80 minutes when those players were brought on, which wasn't enough time for them to really impact the game. So I guess, it's a tough one. But just on Val, what did you make of his setup? What did you make of his substitution? Did you understand tactically what he was trying to do?
Yeah, like I said, I got it. I understood that what we were trying to do was be compact, nick a couple of chances on the counter-attack, which in all fairness, I think we did. I just think we could have done that more by the likes of Asprilla, Martins coming on a bit quicker. I mentioned Shakhtar earlier, who I thought was excellent when he came on, picked the ball up, drove forward. I think they're like a real bright spark. I don't think we've really seen him do that from the start, but if we give him an opportunity, it'll be interesting to see if he does do that. I put a tweet out earlier saying, if people were Val, what would they have done differently yesterday? Because, like I say, it goes back to that dilemma. If we open up, we could have got torn apart completely. I just think we could have set up like we did for the first 60 and then almost let the handbrake off and try and attack a bit more. The one which raised question marks for me in hindsight was I thought when Jake Livermore came off at about 60 minutes, I thought we immediately looked a lot poorer.
What was it? What in particular, Sam? What was it about Watford's performance that changed when he went off?
I thought we lost structure, to be honest with you. I think Leicester started to get a lot more space in behind. I think Vardy came on at a similar time to Livermore coming off. And I think what that allowed Leicester to do was get the ball out wide, shift it a lot quicker through midfield, through the thirds, and get the ball to Vardy, who really should have scored 4 or 5 goals yesterday while he was on the pitch as well. I think even he said that. It's weird with Jake Livermore because I really doubted him when he came in, but he's proving to be such an important player for this Watford team. And I think it showed yesterday that when he came off, I think we looked like a worse side.
This is the one player that I've underestimated as well, Sam, because he's just turned 34, Livermore. And there is talk of whether he should actually be the captain now. And we'll get on to the chat about Backman later on because it was a chaotic last 5 or 6 minutes with Ryan Porteous ending up between the sticks. And that's the second time in 2023 that an outfield player had to go and go. Obviously, first Hamza Chowdhury, the now Leicester player, and now Ryan Porteous, both times with Daniel Backman being sent off. But Jake Livermore, Harry, does he feel like the key cog in this Watford team? Because as Sam said, it does feel like we lose a little bit of leadership, a little bit of structure, a little bit of maybe championship nous in there when he goes off because it feels like he reads the game quite well.
Yeah, well, I think, to be honest, I think this Watford team has been crying out for a bit of championship nous for quite a while. And I think when we signed Livermore, it was one of those players, it was a low-risk signing. And do you know what? He's come in and I think he's really set into the team really well. And like I say, I think we do need more players like Livermore. Not necessarily the age, but I think maybe more of that championship experience, I think is really beneficial for any championship team. I think when you've got a load of players that probably haven't played in the championship before, because it is a different ballgame when it comes to championship, I think it's very good to be around players that do have that experience and do have that, have played at that level in the championship, because it is really different.
One man that has been mentioned in the live chat, Sam, is Mateus Martins. Fabian Cohen in the comment section. Why is Martins not starting? Can we understand why he's not?
It's baffling. It's baffling. Genuinely. I was saying to Lou Warnes as well on my tweet earlier about saying what have you done differently with Val. I just don't get it why he's not playing at the moment. It might be a case of Val wanting... I mean, it's not a case that Watford keep it tight, bring Martins on to change the game because he brought him on way too late. Inter isn't doing enough for me at the moment, to be honest with you. I know he started yesterday. I don't think he started the game against Rotherham. It's beyond me because we always look better down that side when Martins is on cutting inside. We look more direct and he just has to start games. I don't get it, to be honest with you. I can't really answer that question other than I don't understand it either.
I guess the argument would be, from Val's perspective, Martins likes to cut inside from the left-hand side and you've got Rajvic in the middle, Harry, who is feeding off service that we need to give him crosses. And I wouldn't say out of all the wingers, Martins is the man that gives you those crosses.
No, we've seen the majority of his goals have pretty much all been identical, maybe apart from the Rotherham one where he's come in on his right foot, put it in the bottom corner there. Whereas I think maybe he's looking at Ken Sema, who can be that guy that runs down the wing, comes to the box, and we've seen a lot of assists be from Ken Sema for Rajvic's goals. So maybe that's the dilemma there. But I agree. I think Martin should be starting more 100%. Whether it's on the right, I'm not sure, because I know when he first came to Watford, I think he played on the right. I know obviously different manager. I'm not aware, but it is an interesting one. My view is he must prefer Ken Sema, and it must be a tactical reason. But I would love to see Martin start more 100%, because I think he does offer, as well as goals, I think he does offer a lot more into the team in terms of creativity.
Yeah, for sure. But we're just going to throw a few more comments over to the guys, and then we'll get back onto the game and dissect the 2 goals that Watford conceded. And to be completely honest with you, I think it probably could have been 3 or 4 in terms of the chances that Leicester created in the game. One comment from Laura, who says, agree about Livermore, but we have another big game on Tuesday and he's not a youngster. And we mentioned this, Sam, on the video on Friday about the positions we need in this January transfer window. And I guess it does beg the question where we need to get maybe reinforcements in that area, because Livermore is 34 and he probably can't play every single game, just in terms of the intensity of the Championship schedule. And if he's going to be, if we need him for the bigger games, we probably do need to get cover. Is that fair?
100%. Yeah, I think central midfielder has to be one of the priorities this window. Livermore's been fantastic, but also I just think, like I say, he's 34 years old, and we got another 2 games this week against Norwich at home on Tuesday, Hull away next Saturday. And will he be able to play at peak performance for all 3 of those games? Probably not. That was probably Val's thinking in terms of taking him off after an hour yesterday, or 56 minutes, I think it was, keeping in mind for the game against Norwich on Tuesday. So definitely need to bring someone in that position, I think, as cover for Livermore, and also to rotate with him.
Couple of other comments. Will says the subs had to come on earlier yesterday. A safe pair of hands, great name. Whereas if Martins comes on as a sub, is he unpredictable and got that burst of pace? Is it maybe the predictability factor that the reason Martins isn't starting? Daniel Wallen says, I was there yesterday. Ince was diabolical. Martins and Esprit needed to come on earlier, and Kone and Chatford-Datsay need to be starting. Also would like Tom Dele-Bashiru playing more. What's happened to him? Lots to unpack there, Harry, but just your thoughts on that comment from Daniel.
Yeah, I agree with most of that. I agree. Dele-Bashiru, I like since he's come to Watford. I think he's been a great signing, by the way. I think he's a signing which has gone under the radar quite a bit. I like the way he's sort of come into the team. I think he fits really nicely into the team as well. And I think he is a key player for us now. And I agree, Kone needs to be starting as well. I must agree with that. I think obviously the only reason he didn't, or Chatford-Datsay, for that reason, was because of the international break, was the only reason he didn't start. But I agree that Kone needs to start. Georgie, I'm still torn on whether he should start or not. But I agree Kone must start.
Chatford-Datsay had a really good international break, by the way. From what I've been reading, he had a really good international break. So it did seem like he took that into his performance yesterday. Just back on to yesterday, lads. The 2 goals, 2 Jamie Vardy goals, Sam. First of which, just sloppy again. Watford this season, set pieces have just not been rectified. There's been, I've kind of lost count of the amount of times that we struggle to defend set pieces. But do we have to scrap zonal marking now? Has it got to that point?
Yeah, it's a difficult one with free kicks in positions like that. I think it's really flat-footed. I don't think it's a case of being zonal or not. I think it's just the basics of not being alive to the second ball. As soon as I must retract something. I think I said Batman should have done better on the instant match reaction. I think watching it back, I think that's very harsh of me to say that. From the ground, I thought it looked like he just punched it straight into Vardy's path, but he couldn't do anything about it. But it was just so flat-footed, and it was just not alive to the second ball when the second ball comes out. And obviously losing Jamie Vardy, I'm not sure who it was who lost their man or their zone in that position, but you can't leave someone like him free. Giving him we gave him 1 chance already to score from that position and he missed. You can't give him a second chance because you know he's going to score. So really, really poor. A lot of questions have to be asked about the whole Watford team defending yesterday. So flat-footed, so poor, and it's the basics that we didn't get right there.
Interesting from Daniel, actually, Harry. Watford's defence was good, just can't be the whole game. It did rely on quite a structured, disciplined defensive performance yesterday. I guess the question is, was it unrealistic of Val to expect it for the whole 90? Because as I said, it did feel like Leicester. Sam mentioned that chance there with the Jamie Vardy should have probably had a hat-trick in the end. but we managed to do it for a period of time, and we just have that lapse of concentration, those individual errors.
Yeah, of course it's unrealistic. You're playing the league leaders away. You know, they're on their home turf. They've lost 2 games on the bounce. They're going to want to win this game. You know, at some point they did that. They brought on Vardy, and they really went for it, and they got through the Watford's defence. So of course it's unrealistic because the opposition are going to keep putting pressure on you. At the end of the day, you will crack under that pressure. And I think that's what happened because we weren't obviously ruthless enough going forward. Sort of didn't really give it a go. We were so sat back. Eventually we were going to crack under that pressure. So I think, yeah, it is a bit naive to sort of think, you know, we can hold back here for the 90. It's never going to happen. I mean, we did great, but I think it's very unlikely.
For sure. I feel like we've discussed 2 out of the 3 key talking points. We've covered the Leicester goals. We've touched on Watford's defending a set pieces, which needs to be rectified, and also Val's subs yesterday, which again could have been tweaked. But the one takeaway that was probably the lasting memory of this match was actually the last 5 or 6 minutes, with Daniel Bachmann once again getting himself sent off, as I said, in the second time in 2023. But I want to take it back, Sam, to the challenge from Jamie Vardy and Wesley Hoot, which caused quite a reaction from a number of Watford players, including Daniel Bachmann, who sprinted out of his goalkeeper area and got involved with the referee, getting in his face, losing his head, and got himself booked. And I wanted to take it back to that because we've seen this a number of times with Bachmann. And does it beg the question, should we be moving the captaincy on? Because that sort of thing is happening on a regular occurrence.
Let me take it back to his red card against Huddersfield. What was his first yellow card for that day? The exact same thing, sprinting 40 yards or whatever it was to have a go at the referee and him getting booked for that, even though he wasn't captain at the time. I said at the time, I understand why Bachmann was captain. It was the 5-year deal I didn't understand. And I sort of retract my words now because I like Dan. I think he's been a good servant. And I'm talking about purely about the captaincy now, not about whether to move him on. I haven't liked having a goalkeeper as captain. I think we've really lacked the presence of having someone in the middle of the park there. Not because I think, firstly, the first element is someone having to sprint 40 yards aggressively towards the referee makes things look a lot worse than someone like the central midfielder going over 5 yards to the referee. I think, do you know what I mean? I think just perceptively, it looks different to the referee. And I think just generally, just the leadership that you're able to show from the middle of the park, someone like Jake Livermore's done, or previously what we've seen Tom Cleverley do over the last few years, or Dan Gosling, I think shows a lot more from the middle of the park than what a goalkeeper can offer. That's nothing personal against Dan there. I just think it's a problem of having captains as goalkeepers generally. But I think what Bachmann's shown this season and last season with that red card against Huddersfield is a complete rush of blood to the head. I think it shows he cares, but ultimately you need to harness that energy and be careful with it because you know you're going to get booked. They're clamping down on these things now for every bit of dissent. And I just think it was stupid from him not learning from mistakes that he made last season as well from the red card then. Very, very poor. Would I move him on as captain? Yes. But do I think that will happen? No, I don't think so.
Harry, what's your take on the goalkeeper being a captain? Were you a fan when Dan was given it initially?
No, for me, I just don't, like Sam said, it's not supposed to get it down. I think he can be a good goalkeeper, but I think in terms of captaincy, I just don't think he's got enough leadership qualities. I think, again, being a goalkeeper is tough because things like yesterday are going to happen. It's happened twice and it's cost the team on both occasions. So I just don't think he has that leadership quality. And for me, what I didn't like yesterday when he got sent off was he shook Vardy's hand and hugged Chowdhury. Might be a little thing, but for me, you need passion as well. And if that was me, like being sent off as captain, you would be fuming at that. You know, you want to show a bit of passion. I just don't think as well. He's lacking that a little bit. And I think Watford as a team do need a leader that does have that passion and can just install that into the other players a bit more as well. Honestly, I feel like the majority of people, let us know, have kind of swayed in this debate of whether Dan should be given the captaincy. I guess it begs the question, Sam, of who should be given it. And the two names that have been banded around by Watford fans is either Jake Livermore, as we touched upon in the show, or Wesley Hoot.
if you had to give it to one now, if you're Valérien Ismaël and you made that decision that you're going to strip down of the captaincy, which one of the two or another player would you give it to?
Jake Livermore. Straightforward. I think he's shown leadership in his performances. Interesting, Jacob. I'm not sure if you can set up a poll in the live chat now about whether you just strip down of his captaincy, because I mean I have seen other opinions on social media. I think the overriding feeling is people want him stripped of the captaincy, but Jake Livermore in his performances, he's shown leadership. He's shown courage. I think he's shown a real calmness and composure as well, which I think has impacted players around him. Like I said earlier on the stream, when we took Livermore off, I think we looked like we lost structure and that leadership of his in the middle of the park. So I think 100% Jake Livermore is my captain at least. And it might be a small thing having the armband, because ultimately I think he's leading already. But I think small gestures like that, I think, signal to the fans as well that we've got a real leader in there. So I'd give it to Jake Livermore.
So I've put a poll in the live chat if you want to get involved with that, and we'll let you know the results of that poll. It'd be interesting to see the sort of consensus towards Dan. I mean, just from my perspective, I was very similar to what both of you guys said. I think the first thing is I've never been a massive fan of a goalkeeper being a captain for a few reasons. Number one, I don't think you have a lot of influence over the rest of the team. Number two, you then get yourself in positions with the referee that is just unnecessary. And I think, as you said, Sam, very, very well, the perception of the player going up to a referee and moaning after sprinting out of your area, and your heads, we've all been there when you're playing amateur football or whatever. When you're like, when you're in the moment, in the heat of the moment, you're probably just saying stuff really emotionally and not really thinking about how it's coming across. And I think Batman, particularly yesterday, it was just so unnecessary to come out that aggressively towards the referee. And I can understand why the referee gave me yellow cards. Then it left him.
Sorry, I've got a confession to make. I once got sent off in Sunday League for doing
Did
that.
you?
Yeah, I was a goalkeeper, and it's funny because I live with my housemate now. I used to play Sunday League with him, and when his dad told him that he was living with me, he goes, "Oh, is that the goalkeeper got sent off for swearing at the ref?" And I think it is though. I sprinted off 40 yards off to the ref, so we didn't get in a panel or something like that. I wasn't even captain. I don't know why I did it. And Sunday League being Sunday League, any bad language to the ref gets you sent off. But I don't expect that from a professional captain. That's the problem with it.
Do you know what I also think it is with Dan? I've just had this thought as well. I almost think it's a case of him feeling like he has to do it. Almost like he has to go out there and show that he's the captain and show that he cares and show that he's trying to protect his teammates.
Yeah, you've got to feel for him in that way, because again, he's been given this role. And I think the question, what we all want to know is who came to this decision and how. Because again, if it was Val's decision, then you have got to feel for him in this way, because he's been given this responsibility, of trying to show his leadership skills. But again, it is difficult from him being in goal. He has got this sort of, I guess he has got pressure on him to try and show these leadership qualities. I just don't think he hasn't got it. So I think that's where it is tough for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's a couple of comments. So Laura says, just on the stripping down of the captaincy, I don't think Val will. It will undermine team spirit. I guess that sort of internal PR, Sam, how does that look to the rest of the players?
Yeah, definitely. I think imagine the confidence that will not from Dan, because he is our starting goalkeeper. That's the reality of it as well. And it's not like we can drop him completely, because we don't have too many alternatives. Obviously, best of luck to Ben Hamer come Tuesday night. But Dan Bachman, regardless of how Hamer plays, I reckon Bachman will be back in goal come next week against Hull. So I don't think he'll want to knock Dan's confidence too much, but I think it puts under scrutiny the decision in the first place.
Tony Green says it might be a blessing in disguise with Hamer taking the gloves. Agree that an outfielder should be captain. Either Hoot or Livermore makes a lot of sense. Ian's called you Odion Daniel Ucko.
It's last week from me and Charlie being Odion and Troy, and then the Daniel Batman today.
So anything else to confess, Sam, so we can just keep adding names?
God, we'll try and think of one each week. But something I just wanted to pick up on now quickly is how poor the behaviour and attitude of this leadership's group has been this season. From Daniel Bachman getting sent off yesterday for something ridiculous, to 3 or something of the players getting banned from the first team for turning up late. it just seems that all the culprits of things that have gone wrong this season have come from that leadership group, which is just so poor and disappointing to see. And it's in that they set the rules, it seems, and they're meant to be sort of these shining lights as an example to other younger players in the squad, in and around the squad, like Ryan Andrews, Toby Adeyemo might get a chance. Greaves has been involved recently as well in first team training, but all of them, it seems, have been in trouble for various things this season, which is really, really disappointing to see. It's beyond me, actually, because it's a position of responsibility they've just completely not taken into their stride at all.
The two names that I can remember from that leadership group that have been got dropped was Loser was one of them. Hamer was another, Sam. There was one more potentially. Those are two I know that got dropped based on being late to meetings, etc. And there's other players that have done that as well. But Jordan, in the comment section, Harry, I'll throw this one over to you, mate. Start of the season, everyone was saying Porteous should be captain. Now he's not even in the debate. Interesting how that's changed. Shows how little fans know. Proves that Val knows what he's doing. I think you're right about me on that one anyway, because I was saying Porto should be in the conversation.
So was I, and I think we chatted about this yesterday, Sam. Actually, I think I said the same thing, that Porteous should be captain. But I think, I don't know. I think there's something about this season. I just don't think he hasn't. I just don't think he's performed well enough this season. I don't know. I'm not saying he should be captain based on performances, but I do think it does also have an impact as well on how you are as a captain. So it's a tricky one. I mean, it might be one for the future, definitely, but I think in the current position, I don't think Porteous should be captain.
A couple more comments before we get on some player ratings. We've got one here which says, couldn't Dan just be made assistant captain? I like Dan. He's been very committed to us and has made some great saves, but Jake Livermore has that extra quality. Ian makes a good point. It's like having a wicket keeper captain in cricket. It usually doesn't work. Charlotte says Tony Coton was a great keeper, but had a similar record for getting sent off. Keepers need to keep their cool. One comment here, actually, again from Daniel. Loser, bloody hell, what's gone on with him? He's been so bad lately. When he's been coming on or starting, he's playing like he's leaving. Sam, I think you're the best person to ask, because Sam, I wouldn't say it's been a personal vendetta towards Loser, but certainly is picked out. You picked one thing I'll always say, Sam. You did pick out his dropping performances very early on, and it seems like he's struggling to get back to the Imran Loser we saw during times in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's nothing personal at all. I must say that. Like, I am just going off what I'm seeing on the pitch, but I will praise players when I see something positive. But again, yesterday, just completely anonymous. I know it was a difficult game for him, particularly because Watford didn't have a lot of the ball. I think it was probably the wrong decision to start him in the first place. So in that respect, I don't really blame him. But I think there is an element where he seems like he's playing and his head's not there, if that makes sense. I think he's probably waiting to leave in January, which probably will happen. We mentioned on the video, I think last week, Jacob, that with us being linked with this Kamara fella from Udinese, I wonder if that'll be part of a swap deal potentially, or if Mateus Martins comes to Watford permanently and Imran Loser goes the other way. It was a strange one. I don't want to go too in on Loser for yesterday's game, because I don't think it was too much his fault. I don't think he was suited to the game, but I think he's right there that I don't think his head's with it at the moment.
Yeah, the rumour that's flying around is that he's going to be going to Udinese in exchange for a Martins permanent to Watford, which could be interesting. Geordie does mention that Loser got a hat-trick in a friendly against Brentford. Shows he still has ability. I think Ivan Toney got 2 against us as well. It was
like 8-6, yeah.
8-6, behind closed doors. Bloody hell. Charlotte, another one here. Val's trying to instill discipline into the squad after years of managerial chaos. How bad must things have been behind the scenes over recent years? Does beg the question. Harry, were you there yesterday?
I was indeed, yeah.
One for both of you from Will. Thoughts on the Watford fans yesterday? I don't know what he means by that. I watched it from home.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Rating out of 10?
Great.
8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, I think.
Yeah.
Did you boo Chowdhury? I heard there was a few boos towards.
There was a few.
There were a few, yeah. I think it was actually one of the best, loudest the away end's been this season. I think it's also the way the Leicester away end is set up. It's quite interesting. Sort of you're going round a bit, round the corner flag. But it was a really loud away end yesterday, quite pretty much sold out. I think most Watford fans, after we went 1-0 down, were resigned to us losing the game ultimately. It was a bit weird though. I'm not sure if you sensed it, Harry. I know I was next to you, but when the penalty was given and Batman was sent off, no one really reacted. Not even the Leicester fans. You can see it back on the highlights. Like, everyone was a bit confused. I'm not really sure why that was. I thought
because Boyes was going in goal. That was probably it. Everyone was shot. I think. Yeah, I think you're right though. I think after that goal, I think people were resigned. You know, it's them winter games that does it to you. I know the feeling. But no, I thought what fans were good, really good.
Our record at King Power is absolutely terrible. So fair play to anyone who went. Okay, we've rated the fans. We'll rate the players. We're going to do quick fire between Sam and Harry, and let us know in the comment section what you think. I think the first player rating is going to be the most interesting. To be fair, I'm going to give it to Harry. Daniel Batman.
I'm going to give him a 3 because he did make a good save, albeit that save was from his goal kick that went to the Leicester team, but he still made a good save.
Ryan Andrews. Sam, who I have to say, I thought he dealt with Madavidi really well for a large period of that game.
100%. Had a really, really good game, Ryan. A couple of lazy passes in the second half, which I think came down to the fact that he was probably absolutely exhausted. Give Ryan a 7. I thought he had a good game yesterday.
Porteous, Harry? Who ended the game in goal?
In goal, yeah, I mean, that deserves extra points, doesn't it? If he saved the penalty, it might have been different. I don't know. I mean, I'll give him a 6 just for the performance in the first 70 minutes. I think where we held our own, I thought he did do quite well with Hoot at the back there.
Yeah, fair play for Porteous. He actually looked quite keen to go in goal, which kind of threw you off a little bit. Like, he actually wanted to go in. The only thing I'd say about Porto, and just on what Harry said there, there's a couple of times his passing out the back. I was like, oh, come on, right, mate. Just a little bit sloppy, which,
yeah. It's not the first time either. He has done it. I think the past couple of games, it has been a bit sloppy at the back from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wesley Hoot, Sam?
7.5. Really good game for Wes yesterday. His diagonal passes aren't paying off as much as they were at the start of the season, but made some really big blocks, some good challenges there as well. So played really well yesterday, Wes. 7.5.
Jamal Lewis, Harry?
7. I thought he was great. Way he sort of overlaps Ken there on that left. I think I really like the way he plays. Just defensively, really solid as well. So I'm going to give 7 for Lewis.
Love that. Livermore, who you said Sam made a difference when he went off the pitch, but his overall performance?
7.5 as well. I think joint with Wesley Hoot, our joint man of the match. Really, really good. Showed leadership, composure in the middle of the park, broke up the play quite nicely as well. Yeah, I give him a 7.5. 7.5.
Kiembe, Harry?
I don't think he did too bad yesterday. I think I'll go for a 6.5. I reckon Kiembe. I thought he did quite well in the middle yesterday.
Imran Loser, Sam?
Again, not to blame Loser. I just don't think it was the game for him. 4.
We'll go with. Someone did say Ince had a poor game yesterday, Harry. Is that fair?
Yeah. I don't think he did anything really. So I'm rating Ince. I'd have to give him a 4 probably, and that's probably quite generous to be honest. But
it's one of those where, like, obviously you judge a lot of what the wingers do with the ball, and because we didn't have a lot of the ball, it meant that whenever they got it, you are really like almost scrutinising what they do because you kind of expect them to make things happen. And I guess on the other side, Sam, Ken Sema probably had one of more of his quieter games, would you say?
Yeah, still did okay, I think, at times in terms of taking on his man. Set pieces were really poor yesterday, I thought, though, with the ones that came from him. Slightly better than Ince, so probably a 5, I think.
5. Rajovic, Harry, we did mention that chance in the first half, potentially.
Yeah, the chance, but I think he wasn't really given enough service, so it's hard. But I think when he was, he did struggle to sort of win them second balls and the headers and hold the ball up. So I'd probably say a 4 again. 4.
And subs wise, I know you were high full of praise for Chatford-Datse, Sam. Drove with the ball well, I thought. Would you potentially consider starting him on Tuesday?
It's weird because he doesn't really seem to have the same impact when he starts games, but I really like the bravery. I always like Georgie when he comes off the bench. Probably not. I probably wouldn't start him. I'd say I think it's just a roll of the dice if a game's tight, but I'd give him a 7, I think.
Any other ones that we feel need a rating? Kone came on at 55. Harry, Espria, Bio, Martins.
Asprilla, I thought he came on making some really nice runs through the middle there. I thought he made a really good impact when he came on. It's good to see Asprilla doing much better because I've always thought with Asprilla, I think physically he still has a lot to work on, which will obviously come. João Pedro did it, but I'm liking the look of Asprilla, and I think he's making a really good impact. So I'd definitely start him against Norwich, I think, as well.
Yeah, I think also I always forget with Asprilla, he's only just turned 19, and João didn't really start playing regularly until about now as well. And Asprilla's already played 50 games for us, if I'm not mistaken.
He's looking better, I think, as the games going on as well. So it's good because I think he's got a really bright future as well. Really exciting player.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I guess it just begs the question, just to wrap up. Actually, we'll give Val a rating. Sam, from my perspective, I understood the game plan. I think in retrospect, probably could have been more positive. His subs came a little bit too late. So overall,
5. Is that fair? Would you say?
Probably fair. I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
In the end, it was comfortable for Leicester, wasn't it? I mean, we can all say, it was discipline for a large portion of it, but by the end of it, it was kind of quite a bit of a stroll for Leicester in the last 20.
Yeah, 100%. I think there were some good things to take from the game. I don't think there was a problem with the way we set up. I just think the in-game management was really poor yesterday. So I think a 5 out of 10 for Val.
5 out of 10. And I guess I just wanted to wrap up with, what team would you play on Tuesday night against Norwich? It's a game that we're probably looking at the way Norwich have been playing, their form as well. Probably got to be winning that, Harry. So any change to that starting lineup you look at and you go, you know what, I'd bring a particular player in?
Yeah, I think definitely Asprilla. I think we definitely need to give it a good go on Tuesday. I think Norwich are there for the taking, to be honest with you. I think we have a really good opportunity there. We always do well against Norwich. I was saying this to Sam yesterday. We do seem to have a really good record against Norwich. So, I think definitely bring Asprilla in and try and give it a go. I think maybe that would be the only change I would make, I think, at this, just based on Saturday. And then probably Kone for loser as well.
Maybe. Who goes in goal for you? Porteous or Hamer?
Do you know what? Hamer didn't look good against Rotherham. I mean, don't get me wrong.
To do. That's the thing, though, isn't it? It was hard to say.
Yeah, there was like that one free kick from Cafu, who he turned into like prime Ronaldo, and it's like flying everywhere in the air. Looked comfortable with his feet. Some people are actually quite happy that Hamer's starting, but I guess it just goes back to that poll. So we did put a poll in the live chat for people who aren't watching live or on audio, and the question was, would you strip Backman of the Watford captaincy? 91% of people said yes.
Wow.
So it's pretty more one-sided than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But can we?
It'd be interesting to know. I'd also be interested to know of people who think he should keep the captaincy. Of why? Like, I'm not saying I disagree, but I think it will also be quite interesting to know as to why they might think that. I think it probably is down to, like I think someone mentioned, the sort of it might upset the team spirit and things like that. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Sam, can't see it happening though.
No, I don't think it will happen. Not at least until the end of the season, maybe. But I just think it will cause too much disruption in the changing room until at least during the season. But like I say, the big change I want to see is a bit more leadership from this leadership group, because what they've offered so far this season has been really poor, I think.
Yeah, it has been lacking. I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much to everyone who watched. Thanks for all the comments as well. Really do appreciate it. In the end, a 2-0 defeat at the King Power Stadium. Sam, Ucko, Harry, what a debut, mate. We've got to get you back on for sure.
I'm opening the Mad Squirrel. We have a couple of pints then, and always the best time to digest the game, isn't it? So
the flat cap's got to be on for the next one.
Of course, Sam knows, do you?
Unreal.
Oh, superb. Thanks everybody who watched. Please do leave a like on the way out. If you're listening on audio, drop us a review. It would be massively appreciated. Follow the guys on socials. The links are in the description below, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good week, and up the audits.